You wake up on a Thursday. The sun's already warming the pasture. Ellie's doing her usual sunrise patrol, and the coffee's just right. Strong enough to wake a bear, smooth enough to sip slow. You open the front door, stretch, and find it a bright orange envelope, taped to your gate like a warning shot, bold letters on the front. Notice of violation. Gulp. Soviet Complex Board. Below that, in underlined all caps. Final notice. Property removal required in 30 days. You don't open it right away. You just stare at it for a full minute, blinking like maybe you're still dreaming. But no, there it is. HOA. Letterhead. Official language. A threat. Written in passive voice. Ellie tilts her head at you like, you gonna eat that or should I pee on it? You open the envelope. Inside is a typed letter, 2 pages long, signed with great flourish by none other than Margaret L. Fernsworth, president of the HOA Compliance Board. Marcia too, basically, but with a law degree and an affection for scented paper. The accusation: your property is in non-compliance with Article 6, Section 14.2, Agricultural Animal Containment, excessive signage, and unapproved fencing fixtures. As such, you are hereby ordered to vacate the premises within 30 calendar days to allow for regulatory mediation and possible community redevelopment. You laugh out loud, like someone just told you the HOA discovered fire and now claims to own the sun. The idea that they could evict you from your own ranch land that's been in your family for a century, deeded and redrawn and refenced through more seasons than they've had board elections, isn't just ridiculous, it's insulting. You flip the letter over, looking for a punchline. Maybe a footnote. Just kidding. Here's a coupon for mulch. Nope. I'm serious. You walk inside, pull out your filing cabinet, and dig for the parcel map. This isn't the first time the HOA has tried something shady, but this is next level. You lay out the full county grid on your kitchen table. There's your ranch, clearly marked. There's the perimeter, fenced and surveyed, last confirmed just last year. And then you notice something. Your landline cuts through the corner where the HOA's main office building sits. That building, the little stone brick monstrosity with the blue metal roof and awkward parking lot, is not on HO-owned land. It's on Parcel 13C. You check the deed. Parcel 13C belongs to you. You blink, then double-check, then check the county registry online. Still you. Not in dispute. Still yours, which means, brace yourself for the irony, they just threatened to evict you from your land while illegally occupying your building. You stare at Ellie. She stares back. You both nod. Time to burn this thing down, politely, legally, and with a very large hammer of public humiliation. You call your lawyer, guy named Ben, real estate and land use law specialist. Sounds like a surfer, fights like a viper. You forward him the HOA letter. He skims it and immediately mutters, "These clowns signed their own eviction notice." By 4 p.m. you've drafted a cease and desist. It's sharp, precise, and accompanied by a 14-day notice to vacate the premises of Parcel 13C, which, as the documentation helpfully notes, is wholly owned by the undersigned. Ben throws in a cherry on top. Failure to comply will result in a trespassing lawsuit, back rent calculations, and formal proceedings for forced removal. You print 6 copies. You hand deliver one to the HOA building that evening. You tape it to the door right next to their security camera. Then, look into the lens and smile. Ellie barks once for effect. And that's how the countdown began. The fallout begins at 7:42 a.m. the next morning, precisely 1 minute after the HOA office opens. Glenn, yes, that Glenn, still somehow employed after surviving 3 HOA scandals and one unfortunate incident involving a cookie table and a goat, calls you in full panic mode. Wallace, what? What is this? I assume you're referring to the legally binding cease and desist I taped to your front door. You can't evict the HOA. That building has been our headquarters for 12 years. And it's been on my land for just as long. Funny how y'all never noticed. You never said anything. You never asked. Dead silence. By 10 a.m., Marcia Tusica Margaret Fernsworth is live on a Zoom call with her team. You know this because Glenn forgets to turn off his camera while on hold, and you get a beautiful glimpse of chaos unfolding behind him. Papers flying, fingers pointing, one guy aggressively Googling how to reverse trespassing charges. Margaret appears composed, but you know that look. It's the face of a woman whose power is built on bylaws and binder clips, and now she's realizing the binder was filed on the wrong property. At 11:03 a.m., the HOA sends you a formal response. We believe Parcel 13C was erroneously recorded and request a grace period to reassess the property boundaries. You respond, I believe your lunch break is over. You've got 13 days. Meanwhile, the neighborhood starts buzzing. Turns out, someone leaked the eviction letter from the HOA to a local Facebook group, followed minutes later by a snapshot of your cease and desist, captioned, When the HOA barks at the wrong tree, and the tree owns their building. The post explodes. Within hours, hashtags start trending. Gatekeeper of 13C. Evict the evictors. Ellie owns the office. Someone even starts a countdown clock website, www.hoevictionday.com. They don't know who did it, but you send them a fruit basket. By day 3, the HOA tries to fight back. They call a community emergency meeting, but it's sparsely attended. Most residents have popcorn and are enjoying the drama from lawn chairs. A few even park across from the office just to watch the implosion unfold in real time. They try everything. Claiming adverse possession, Ben laughs so hard he spills coffee. Requesting historical utility privilege, not a real thing. Offering to buy Parcel 13C for $6,000, 0 cents. You counter with, I'll consider $600,000, 0 cents, and a public apology signed by every current and former board member. They don't reply. Day 6, Glenn shows up at your gate. He's holding a box. Margaret told me to hand-deliver this, he mumbles, eyes on the ground. Inside the box, a key, some dusty property maps, and a letter with shaky type. Dear Mr. Wallace, the HOA Compliance Board formally requests an extension to vacate Parcel 13C until a suitable office space can be secured. We recognize your legal ownership and apologize for any misunderstanding. Respectfully, Margaret Fernsworth. You scan the letter. You hand Glenn a Sharpie. Add, we were wrong. We got owned. Then we'll talk. He does. You smile. Tell Margaret, I'm giving her 5 more days. After that, we're hosting a lockout live stream. He turns pale. You're serious? You point to Ellie, who's now wearing sunglasses and sitting next to a sign that says, to make happily patrol in progress. Trespassers will be laughed at. Does she look like she's joking? Day 10, the HOA begins to move out. They're quiet about it, no announcements. just a string of minivans and plastic crates filled with manila folders and unpaid dues letters. Someone records it and adds dramatic violin music. The clip goes viral. By day 14, you're standing at the front steps of the now empty building, padlock in hand. You glance at the camera. You smile. You lock the door. Ellie barks once. Official seal of eviction complete. That night, you host a live stream called The Lockout Party. Over 20,000 people tune in. You give a tour of the now vacant building. You show the deed on screen. You thank the HOA for 12 years of unintentional comedy. And you announce your next move. This building no longer belongs to the HOA. It belongs to the neighborhood. Welcome to the new Ellie Community Hall. The comment section explodes. And just like that, the HOA's out. You're in. And your ranch didn't just survive the attack. It absorbed the enemy's fortress. The first official act of Ellie Community Hall? Pre-chili. You threw a block party the following Saturday. No permits, no forms. No HOA clipboard lady checking everyone's folding chair for non-regulation colors. Just music, food, dogs, and laughter, echoing off the stone walls of a building that once handed out $50.00 fines. Ellie wore her new vest that said, "Ranch Marshal, no bark, all bite, unless you're HOA." Everyone loved it. Word of your victory spread fast. Faster than you expected. The story got picked up by local news. Ranch owner legally evicts HOA from their own building, then by state news. Texas man turns tables on Ocho with ironclad deed and iron will. And finally, national blogs. Oh, horror story ends with dog named Ellie taking over real estate? You couldn't make this up. Except you sort of did. Well, you just didn't expect the world to cheer. People started dropping by. Not just neighbors, but folks from out of town. They wanted to see the infamous padlock, take selfies at the gate of no return, and pet Ellie, who charged one treat per handshake. You installed a guest book near the entrance of the former HOA building. Within a week, it had over 400 signatures and one marriage proposal written in glit. You're not sure to whom. You just hope they followed up. Inside the new community hall, things changed. No more dull meetings about grass height and mailbox shapes. Instead, Tuesday night game nights, weekend barbecues, a weekly class called Know Your Land Rights 101, taught by your lawyer Ben, now a local celebrity. One woman even hosted her wedding reception there, under a banner that said, "From HOA to happily ever after." You didn't charge her a cent. But Margaret was silent. Her last public appearance was a stiff Facebook post about unlawful overreach by rogue property owners. It got 12 likes, half of which were sarcastic emoji reacts. She eventually moved out of the neighborhood to a gated community, reportedly, one with no HOA. The irony wrote itself. You kept the building functional, but didn't erase its past. You left one room untouched, the old HOA office, complete with filing cabinets full of violation notices, color-coded maps, and faded posters about community excellence. Above the door, you added your own plaque. News of misguided power. Open weekends. Bio popcorn. Kids loved it. You even turned some of the old forms into scratch paper for coloring books. Nothing like drawing dinosaurs on the back of a letter that once fined someone for non-numeral patio furniture. Every month, you host a storytelling night. People take turns on the mic, sharing their own horror stories. Some funny, some frustrating, some truly outrageous. And every time, you end the night with the same phrase. Remember, land is more than dirt and fences. It's about dignity, freedom, and the right to walk your goat in peace. Cheers, applause, and usually one confused tourist wondering if the goat thing is literal. It is. And then there's Ellie. She's got her own couch in the hall, her own Instagram, a line of t-shirts with her face on them and the phrase, "I own the land, you just park on it." You donated the proceeds to a local shelter, because sometimes even heroes wear fur. As for you, you go back to walking your land each morning. You pass the gate. You see the building. You smile. Because while they try to remove you, you remove the very system they built to control you. And in its place, you built a community. No bylaws, no fines, just neighbors. The thing about power, real power, is that it doesn't shout. It doesn't need a clipboard or a title. It walks quietly through its own land, nods to the goats, and knows where every fence post lies because it hammered them in by hand. That's you now. You walk the perimeter of your ranch like a king surveys his domain. Only this king carries a thermos of black coffee, waves at joggers on the trail, and gets mail addressed to the guy who evicted the HOA. Sometimes, folks stop you just to talk. Not about drama, not about rules, but about life, real things. One guy asks if he can propose to his girlfriend at the Ellie Hall. You say yes, but only if Ellie's the ring bearer. He agrees. You've become the unofficial mayor of a neighborhood that no longer needs governing, just guidance. And that's better than any title on a mailbox. You decide it's time to make things permanent. So you file paperwork to convert the building into a non-profit community foundation. Ellie is named co-founder. Legally symbolic, obviously, but symbolically legal sounds even better. You call it the Land and Liberty Center. Its mission? Educate homeowners on their rights, advocate for sane community planning, and provide a dog-friendly space for events, workshops, and, occasionally, pie eating contests. You fund it partly yourself, partly through donations, and, unexpectedly, through merch sales. Turns out people really love mugs that say, "You can't evict the landlord." Meanwhile, Ben, your lawyer, becomes something of a folk hero. He gets invited to speak at city council meetings, college law classes, even a TEDx talk titled, "Overhuman. Why Paper Wins Over Petty." You go with him once. Ellie sits in the front row, falls asleep halfway through, snoring just loud enough to get a chuckle from the back. Classic. A year passes. No new HOA forms. No random inspections. Just spring breezes, good neighbors, and the distant memory of a fence that once threatened to erase everything you built. It's strange how quickly something oppressive can become a joke once you reclaim control, and how something small, like a poorly placed eviction notice, can unravel a whole empire of arrogance. You still have the letter? The original one. The eviction threat. It's framed now, hanging in the hallway of the Land and Liberty Center. Next to it is your deed, and below both is a brass plate with engraved text. They tried to remove the man, but he removed the system. Some visitors laugh when they read it. Some just nod. All of them walk away a little taller. And Ellie? She's still the queen of the trail, chasing squirrels, stealing hot dogs at picnics, and sitting for selfies like it's a press conference. You don't know what she understands about property law or zoning rights, but you're pretty sure she gets the important part. She knows where home is, and she knows you protected it. One cool autumn morning, air crisp, sun low, You sit on the front steps of the Land and Liberty Center, coffee in hand, Ellie at your feet. There is a stillness here now, not the tense silence of people afraid to speak, but the contented hush of a neighborhood that has remembered how to breathe. A small group of kids are drawing on the sidewalk with chalk. One of them writes, "Ellie's house, no HOA allowed." You smile. You don't correct them. Later that week, a new couple moves into the neighborhood. Young, excited, still a little anxious. The husband knocks on your door with an armful of muffins. "We heard about the past situation," he says. "We just wanted to say thanks and also ask, is there anything we should avoid doing?" You laugh and shake your head. There's no HO, no fines, no secret committees. Just respect the land and your neighbors. He lets out a relieved breath. That sounds incredible. It is, you nod. Took a few padlocks to get here, but it's pretty great. The ranch is quieter these days, but in the best way. No more surveillance SUVs parked across the street. No more anonymous notes about unauthorized goat behavior. Just goats, behaving as goats do, unapologetically. You walk the trail one afternoon and find a bench freshly painted with stenciled words. Built on land they thought they owned. Below it in smaller font. Sponsored by Ellie. You never ask anyone to make that, but you're glad they did. Inside the community center, the old HOA office is now a cozy reading room. The fluorescent lights are gone, replaced with warm lamps and mismatched chairs. A big sign over the doorway says, "Fiction section." Some of it actually happened. Is full of books now, mostly about land rights, gardening, and the occasional HOA revenge story someone mails in with a sticky note that reads, "Thought you'd enjoy this one. P.S. Ellie's a legend." She is. You both are, in your own way. Eventually, someone from the county reaches out. Would you be open to consulting on how to transition other HOA-governed communities into more resident-led initiatives? You think about it for a moment, then respond, "Be sure, just don't expect me to wear a tie." They don't. They just want your insight, your story, and maybe, just maybe, your blueprint for how to take back what matters with humor, humility, and a perfectly timed property deed. And when the sun finally dips behind the barn each night, you do what you've always done. You walk the land. No agenda. No checklist. Just you, Ellie, and the sound of your boots crunching gravel. That's been yours longer than anyone realized. At the gate, you pause. You look back at the community center glowing in the twilight, at the kids racing down the trail, at the couple waving from their porch, at the brass plaque on the wall. If you whisper, "Try evicting me now." Ellie barks once. The coyotes, somewhere in the distance, stay silent. They know better, because out here, you own the keys. You own the land, and more importantly, you own the ending.